So it's all for play for still.
I think so. Do you want to bet against us?
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to 4:25 in the morning. And I'm actually not going to go too nuts with this intro because we have breaking news. The team sheet is out. They put it out 10 minutes early. I don't know whatever kind of time system is down in Australia, but I'm glad I started at 4:25 because the team is out, and I'm going to go straight into it. So our team for the Queensland Champions Cup, Aston Villa versus Leeds United in Brisbane tonight, is in goal Swedish international Robin Olsen. Our Polish international Matty Cash starts at right back with Callum Chambers and English international Tyrone Mings in the centre. French international Luca Dean plays at left back. Looks like, and I'm going to make a very tentative basis on this one, looks like we're playing a 4-2-3-1 tonight, which is, once again, as I've mentioned previously, that's what I think we played against Walsall. Douglas Luiz, Brazilian international, and Boubacar Kamara, French international, seem to anchor the defensive midfield positions, the two number sixes. Then we've got Jacob Ramsey, English under-21 international, Jamaican international, Leon Bailey, and Brazilian international, Philippe Coutinho, all playing behind English international Ollie Watkins. And there's a reason that I went with the whole international vibe, because Villa seem to have gone massively international themselves. The scenes in Brisbane have been nothing short of fucking class over the last few days. Now, we saw it in Toronto when all the North American villains took over Toronto and absolutely had the time of their lives. Looks like it's happening in Brisbane as well. And I know from, I see Ashley Preece all over Twitter, and I think he's genuinely blown away by the amount of amazing support that Aston Villa have down there. Villa have sold out their allocation for a preseason game, 25,000 miles away from B6. That's absolutely amazing. And I'm really happy with this team. I'm really happy with this team because we all get a glimpse of what looks to be a really attacking lineup, but we also get a glimpse of, who could be one of the most exciting signings of the whole season in Boubacar Kamara, starting in that number 6 role. Yeah, I'm glad I got up before 25 for it now. Well, I got up before 4:00 for it now. So it's going to be a really interesting game. Looking at the substitutes bench, we have Freddie Guilbert, Diego Carlos, Josh Feeney, and Ashley Young. Young Tim Irigbunum is on the bench with Marvelous Nakamba, McGinn, Sanson, Buendia, and Aaron Ramsey. And then we've got two strikers in Danny Ings and Cameron Archer. We've no sub-goalkeeper on the bench tonight. No Emi Martinez on the bench, no sub-goalkeeper. There's no Oliver Zwick or Philip Marshall on the bench tonight. Now, maybe they will be there. Maybe it's an error. But it looks like Robin Olsen is going to get the full game today. And there will be, as Stephen Gerrard said, a 45-minute roll-off for pretty much two teams. Is what it could potentially be. Now, we've got obviously more subs. I think there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yeah, we've got 12 substitutes there. So that would mean that we would have 10 changes at halftime. And still some really exciting some really exciting subs, should I say there. Looks like Josh Feeney at the age of 16, 17 years of age is going to be heavily involved in our first team, which is amazing for the young man. Same with Aaron Ramsey there, obviously coming off the back of a very, very successful under-19 campaign. Aaron Ramsey is sitting there in a position where we would talk to the certain man who's now back in B6, who Aston Villa seem to be potentially have up for sale for 20 million, Kerry Chukwuemeka. You'd expect to see his name maybe on that subs bench, but Aaron Ramsey is going to be there. And there was a really wholesome video that they put out during the weekend. Now, I must say that I'm loving all the PR stuff Villa are doing over in Australia. I actually feel that they're absolutely nailing it. They're nailing the PR. I think that they're going to come away from this trip to Australia with multiples of new fans, I think, coming away from a place like Brisbane, which is a partly central place. I think that they've really nailed it so far in Brisbane, and that the town is embracing them, as you can see from some of the videos that are there as well. So really exciting lineup. This is great. I'm loving it. And I'm open to suggestion. I'm going to go up to your comments in a moment. I'm only working on about 35% battery power here at the minute, but going to come to your comments at the moment. Pop in the comments there, guys, and let me know. Do you think this is a 4-2-3-1? Because I can't really see any other option other than it being a 4-2-3-1. Because I don't think that they're going to play Jacob Ramsey as a wide right player or wide left player, should I say? Because Bailey, I just don't see it. I could see Ramsey, Coutinho, and Bailey playing further forward. Maybe Bailey playing as a wide right, Coutinho playing as a wide left. In a front three, but I certainly don't see it in a two. I don't see Bailey playing up top with Watkins. Let me know what you think in the comments there. I'm going to kill the team here for a moment, and I'm going to bring up some of your comments there, guys. Who do we have? We've got Sai, who says, I'm only awake because I have the boxing on. Cheers, Ryan Garcia. I completely forgot all about that. So don't spoil it. I think I have it on recording inside boxing as well. In case anybody doesn't know me, sport is pretty much like any sport. I'm up. It's 4:25. In an hour and a half's time, I'll be making a trip to Dublin. Actually, I'll be making a trip down to Limerick first to meet some people, going to Dublin for the biggest occasion in my sporting calendar every single year, the All-Ireland hurling final, which my beloved Limerick are playing in. And you guys may see, any of you who watch regularly will see a signed jersey there. That's from the Limerick hurling team last year. So I am on tender hooks because my beloved Limerick hurling are playing in the All-Ireland final today to make it 3 in a row. So I'm not going to hide my excitement for that either in this podcast. But Sai, great to have you. Darren says, I fell asleep early, so I'm up to watch, even though I didn't plan it. That's what you love to see. Matthew says, come back early from a night out to watch Neil, followed by the Villa boys. You know what? The jealousy factor for me there is massive, because I would have loved to have gone out for a night and had how will I put it, had the restraint not to come back and just fall asleep, but couldn't do it. AL429 says, good morning, fellas. Martin, good to have you, Martin. Good to see you there all the way from New Zealand. This is a proper time of the day for you. For once, you get to watch Aston Villa at a proper time of the day. Awesome is me 5481 says, morning. Robin Finnerty, no Martinez on the bench. Yeah, and we don't see any Martinez on the bench, unless I think it could be an error, because if memory serves me right, I think there was one or two substitutes that weren't named in the Walsall one. I know the Walsall one was, it's a bit more of a lax friendly, whereas this there's lots of eyes on this. Potentially could just be an option to give Robin Olsen loads of time, because they know what they're going to get in Emi Martinez. Danny says, proper effort there, Neil. Kicks off at 10:35 p.m. my time, Colorado. Do you know what? It's going to be as hot as Colorado here, I would say. In Ireland today, we're set to hit 30 degrees Celsius in Ireland today. So, and I know the UK is really worried about what next week brings in 40-degree heats as well. So, we'll be getting a taste of Queensland and a taste of what an Australian summer will be like, even though it's going to be an Australian winter, and what it can potentially be like in Colorado and some of the hotter states in the United States as well. Tom Fleming says, crazy scenes getting up at 4:25 to watch the Villa. I must have really missed football. Yeah, I'm going to be honest, like, usually I would have kind of been tiptoeing around it when I was saying it to the better half, going, oh, I have to get up. I'm going to get up at 4:25 and do a podcast, because I would have got that look of, what the hell are you doing a podcast at 4:25 for? But you know what? I don't care. It's my Aston Villa. I'll do what I want. It's my Aston Villa. I'll do what I want. And I can say that here, knowing that she's fast asleep and she won't come out and give out to me for it. So, yeah, I can do what I want. I'm a big boy now. Can't be giving out to me. Where else do we have? Loads of comments. 4:25 in the morning, and I'm snowed under with comments. This is great. Which Mings and Carlos started together? Yeah, yeah, actually, that's a good point, because it looks like it's going to be Carlos and Feeney in the second half. I'm delighted to actually see Guilbert there. Do you know what's interesting? Augustine's son isn't on the bench, and Ashley Young is. That's an interesting. Now, I know he's probably only gotten down there in the last 72 hours or whatever, and he needs to get up to speed. but I would have thought maybe 45 minutes wouldn't have been out of the question for him. But then again, Stephen Gerrard is a man of principle, a man of honour. Could have been, he might have been saying, well, Ashley Young has been training here the whole time, so we'll have him on the bench. But looking forward to seeing Gilbert. Carlas and Feeney will be an interesting partnership, considering that Diego Carlas English isn't great, if he has any at all, and there's going to be a 17-year-old kid beside him for the second half. Maybe they don't. Maybe that is one of the, because there's 12 subs on the bench. Maybe that's one of the subs that they don't make at halftime, and maybe it is a case where Carlas comes in beside Mings, and then Feeney maybe comes on then for Mings with 20 minutes to go or something along those lines. So there's that's going to be an interesting one. The second half is going to be interesting. That's a great point you bring up there, Al429. American Villa says, good night all. It's good morning. Morning for everybody. For everybody this side of the world anyway. Where else are we, guys? Where else are we? 8:30 on the west coast of the USA. Oh, you're sure this is primetime viewing for you, so Philip. Absolutely primetime viewing. And Rod says it's Saturday night here in California, so I'm well into the beer. I wish Philip could play this more often. Yeah, it's interesting to see how people's habits, it's interesting to see how many people out there are as weird as I feel getting up at 4:25, because sometimes, when we do team sheet tantrums and people are talking about, oh, it's this time in the morning, it tends to go unnoticed sometimes. Well, it's not unnoticed, obviously it stands out, but people do that every single week, whereas I'm sitting here thinking I'm fecking a legend for doing this once and probably won't need to do it again for another 10 years if I'm still doing podcasts in 10 years. So I do have serious admiration for anybody who follows the Villa from afar, especially in far-flung time zones, whereby it takes a massive effort for you to get out of routine maybe for your day to follow Aston Villa, and I'm getting a taste of that today. So massive kudos to absolutely everybody out there who does this every week to follow Villa. We've got someone in Philly. We've got Paul Kelly in Philly here, 12:30 in Philly, just back from the Irish pub. I condone that 100%. Andrew Morgan, just outside the ground. Weather is good and not too hot. Excellent. Great to have somebody up there at the actual game as well. And Sai does say, Sai says Feeney might be fluent in Portuguese. I mean, he could be at 17 years of age, but yeah, I'd like to know how many schools in and around Fleetwood, because I think that's where he was with, who he was with before moving to Aston Villa. I'd like to know how many schools in and around the Fleetwood area would have had full-time Portuguese teachers in there to be able to teach him, or if the club did. I don't know. We'll see. Time will tell. I'm going to bring back up the team there again, just while we have it, because as I mentioned, I think it's going to be an attacking. Well, I don't think it's going to be attacking. Just look at the players on the field. Our front four. That's a really, really potent front four. I think that we have there Watkins, Coutinho, Bailey, Ramsey. Let me know, guys, what you're expecting from that front four. I know we've spoken a bit there about the back four, and we haven't even mentioned about Boubacar Kamara. I expect us all to be absolutely waxing lyrically about Boubacar Kamara come 10 minutes into the game, really, to be honest. I expect him to be probably have more passes in the first 20 minutes than any other player on the team. But what are your guys' views there on the front four, let's call it? Because I think there's a lovely blend within that front four. I think Jacob Ramsey is going to relish playing through the middle, because I think that's where they will play him. And if not, I think he's interchangeable with Coutinho. And something's just popped into my mind here with regards to this, that the interchangeability of those two guys out on the left there. You bring Buendia into the mix if Buendia is obviously he's going to be somebody that Steven Gerrard is going to use. He's not going to be leaving the team. Obviously Bailey's an out and out winger more so. Excuse me. Who gives kind of natural width out there on that right hand side and keeps teams honest. But if you were to bring in a Buendia in there as well and have those three guys there, I genuinely believe that they're probably positionally fluid enough to be able to move players around, specifically fullbacks who would try to pick them up. And I think that if we're playing against teams with a back three, if you do have those three behind an Ollie Watkins, what it would do is it would allow definitely for Watkins to stand on one of the centre halves, and then for one of the guys there to pick up another centre half and try and drag him out of position. So there's possibilities within that, within those three guys that we've starting there. But then obviously Buendia coming in. I think the big question that we would have to ask of ourselves is, if it does end up being a 4-2-3-1, and if the 4-2-3-1 we do see start into the season as well, provided that he sticks with it throughout the season, I think there's one big question there, and that will be John McGinn. What would happen with John McGinn? But the second half of this game, I think, will open our eyes to an awful lot of it. And by the end of the preseason tour, I suppose, really with Manchester United, I suppose we will have more and more details of how the formation is evolving. Because look, I don't think that that's going to be formationally, that's going to be what Steven Gerrard is fully expecting or fully thinking of the team. Because he mentioned a very, very interesting piece in his interview where he said that he actually mentioned the whole having the guys down here for a week. We're a bit further along the line philosophically, from the point of view of what he wants to install. He did mention that having Coutinho with a 5-week preseason is going to be really exciting, because maybe he wasn't as fit as he could have been last season. And all the things that we've been speculating about a Steven Gerrard piece, of what he wanted to get in the off season. He touched on all of those in his in recent interviews, and I think to me that's kind of really exciting to see if it's window dressing, if it's what he's telling us what we want to hear, or if over the next 3 games we see this formation kind of evolve, whether it can be a 4-4-2 at certain times against certain games, whether we're that kind of fluid. I'm not sure the players that we have here are that fluid. I know people say Bailey can play as a striker. I know it's been mentioned time on, time off, but I think Bailey is there to keep people honest and to have his pace and his wit more so than anything else, specifically in this lineup. But it's going to be really, really interesting as well. Where else are we? So Paul Kelly says he's loving that midfield 3. Al says, I want Buendia, Watkins, and Coutinho to be the front 3. Yeah, I think we might even see, well, we won't see that in the second half, but I think that's something we could see maybe against Brisbane Roar during the week. 70 says 70 bad feckers awake. Mad feckers even, he says, awake at this time of night. Rod says, I hope Emmy Martinez is okay. I haven't seen anything. I do have Twitter open. Let's see if there's anything there, if there's been any news. Let's see if Ashley Priest has any news on it, on anything, being the man on the ground out there. Official team sheet. No action for Martinez, Bertrand Traore, or new signing Ludwig Augustinsson. Trio amongst Aston Villa group. A group, as is Ezri Konsa, as he continues his knee rehab. We'll be speaking to Steven Gerrard post-match. Jaden Philogene Bides, Oliver Zake, Ken Kessler-Hayden, Ben Christen, and Keane Davis also missing from the squad, with minutes to be shared out across the 3-game series. And I think that makes sense as well. Those younger players might have been earmarked for the game against Brisbane Roar at the week, in the middle of the week, with the game coming only less than 3 days on the back of this game as well. And also, I've been reliably informed by the wonderful Tez. I don't know if Tez is here. I know he's at the game. That text all over the place. There's Egypt's up. Yeah. I can't remember what I was going to say. Something about the Brisbane Roar game and the young kids playing that game. Yeah, sorry, I think that game could have been earmarked for it. So that obviously there'll be a day's recovery for this. I think that the next week will be a hard week of running, of training, and you see a lot of the footage there about training sessions and so on. And then Manchester United would be something that would be earmarked as a end of season barometer test and so on. So I think that does make sense. Alfie's Reef is 10.5 hours into a night shift. Solidarity, brother. Solidarity to that one. And thank you for all you do. Where else are we? Andy Poulton is saying that he's looking forward to Leon Bailey Mark II this season. So am I. And I think the club are too. I think the club understand an awful lot of what went down with him last season, and maybe the difficulty that moving to a new country has, and then also picking up all those injuries. Not everybody's going to be rock solid in their how will I put it? Maybe their mindset when something like that happens, and that's okay too. Sometimes we expect these guys to be robots. And there are like, Jesus, every one of us has these triggers and stuff like that we can maybe tend to think that the world is down on top of us. And I think there was a bit of that about with the injuries with Leon Bailey last season. I think the club are really excited about what he is going to bring. Darren makes a good point here, saying it's easy. It's preseason, so playing Carlos and the young lad might be what we see. It's more about answering questions than the result. Absolutely. The only problem is, I just don't think either of the two of them could answer each other's questions because neither of the two of them can speak a word of each other's language. I'm presuming. Simon maintains that Josh Feeney is fluent in Portuguese, but I'm a bit more skeptical on that. Actually, guys, before we will come back to the comments here in a moment. I don't know if you guys can read that, but I'm going to go down through the Leeds starting 11. So we've got Melia in goals, Robin Koch, Brendan Aronson, new signing, Mark Rocca, a new signing, and the returning Patrick Bamford, along with Tyler Adams, new signing, Diego Llorente, Dan James, the man who terrorized us for for the 2 goals in the first half in the game last season. We have Jack Harrison, a man by the name of Leif Davis, sounds like an explorer, and another guy who sounds like an explorer as well, Rasmus Christensen, another new signing for Leeds. So Leeds are playing all their new signings, all their new guys. They've obviously sold Rafinha, sold Calvin Phillips. They've reinvested in Brendan Aronson, Mark Roca, Tyler Adams, and Rasmus Christensen. Heavily went out and spent money in the Red Bull stables of Leipzig and Salzburg, and Mark Roca comes in from with great pedigree from Bayern Munich. They haven't wasted their money on the outside anyway. Looking at this, they've strengthened in areas that they needed to strengthen in. Looking at their bench, then they've got a very youthful feel to their bench. Adam Forshaw, obviously, well, I'm not going to say obviously not youthful, but up there in his 30s. Marco Ghiabi is there, who had a very good game in midweek. Rodrigo, Pascal Strike, Luis Sinistera, can't pronounce his surname, another new signing as well, just came in from Feyenoord. Joe Gelhardt, very, very highly thought of. Leo Hilde, Cody Drame, Crescencio Somerville, Sam Greenwood, Matthias Kick, Archie Gray, who they've got massive high hopes for, only 17 years of age, I think. And then Chris Klassen makes up the bench for Jesse March. There is, on the substitutes bench here, Philip Marshall is named for Aston Villa. Just see, is there any other changes? It looks like Aston Villa did leave Philip Marshall off that graphic that I showed you. It seems that he is named here on the official starting team sheets as per Ashley Priest. So we'll see. We'll see if that is the case. We will see if that is the case. Any Australians out there know if Adam Horsey is anyway decent as a referee? Let us know in the comments. So interesting. I think it's going to be a really interesting game. I think it's going to be a really, really interesting game here. Dave says, with 2-6s and 2-6s and Kamara, particularly giving that stability, really hope we start to see the real Bailey could unlock Emi Buendia when on the pitch together, and I completely agree with that. Nicholas asks, no, Kane Kessler Hayden. Yeah, I think that was popped in before. I went to the Ashley Peace Priest that they mentioned there. Ashley, did I say Peace Priest? Peace. Tough to say at 4:49 a.m. GMT, I'll tell you that much. But it looks like they're going to be held in reserve for the Brisbane Roar game midweek. Ray Murphy says, up drinking pints in Toronto waiting for this unreal result for Ireland. Yes, I neglected to say it. I had an early one yesterday morning as well, Irish time. Obviously, Ireland played New Zealand and they went down to the land of the long white cloud and did something I thought I would never see in my lifetime, which has beat New Zealand over a 3-game series. Just madness. Absolutely brilliant. And to see big idols, big heroes of mine, their floods of tears after doing something that they even admitted themselves that, look, don't ever think you're going to beat the All Blacks 2 out of 3 games. But yeah, absolutely fantastic result for Irish rugby there. And I neglected to say it at the start. Nathan Walt just got back from a house party, and yeah, you've just come back from a house party. Fair play to you. Thanks for tuning in, Nathan. Thanks for tuning in. Al says, is there any stress about the fact that we're not feeling our starting 11 in these games? Surely it's a chance to let them gel. No, no team in the world is feeling 100% their starting 11 unless they're under some sort of compliment to the organisers. And if they do, they would only do it for 45 minutes. I think against United this day next week, I think you see what could be perceived as their starting 11. Also, I don't think I could pick my starting 11, which is a good point. I think what we're looking for here is we're looking for more signs of the formation. I think we're looking for signs of how our build-up play is going to go through the likes of Kamara and Douglas Luiz. And look, I'm going to say it here and now. I would imagine if we're playing 2 6s at the base of that diamond, at the base of that midfield, should I say, watch Douglas Luiz have a bit more freedom. Watch how he is when he doesn't need to consistently go sideline to sideline. I think today could be a big game for him. I think he's somebody that I'm really looking forward to, because even last year when we were getting a bit overrun in midfield, I was calling for them to play 2 6s. If you don't have 1 6, I was saying play 2 6s and see what way it goes. And I think for me, it's more about philosophy really today than it is about and getting 45 minutes in the legs really for these guys than it is about seeing the first 11. I think we see the first 11 definitely against Red, and I think we see what's approaching it against Man United next Saturday. Yeah, so for me, that's when I would be looking to see who's nailing down those positions. Where else are we? Yeah, Richard Taylor says, how long till kick off? 30, I was going to say 45 minutes, 44 minutes now. We have a Chilean villain, up the Villa from Chile, a Chilean Villa fan. Rodri, great to have you on board, man. Thanks for popping by. And it's just coming up at midnight there in Chile, which is absolutely excellent. I never copped that as well, Robin. Robin Finnerty says Kamara is wearing the number 44 for preseason at least. Yeah, Villa haven't released their squad number listings. They haven't done it yet. I think it's a bit of a missed opportunity. From a marketing point of view. Like last Saturday, could you imagine the amount of people who would have gone in and bought Kamara? I don't know what number he's going to pick. I'm going to pick. I don't know what number he's going to pick. 17? Could you imagine how many people would have gone in and picked Kamara with whatever number he wanted to pick if it was announced and got it on the back of their shirt when they announced the shirt? Bit of a missed opportunity potentially. But then again, what do I know? What do I know? Oh, and KFWH has stayed up until 5 in the morning. That's dedication. No kids in that house, I wouldn't say, that you have to wake up and look after. Although then again, I've got a free pass for my absolutely fantastically wonderful child. I've got a free pass from her for today and for tomorrow when I travel to see Limerick play in the All Ireland tournament final. So there is that. So I can't be throwing stones from that point of view. Andrew's in the stadium now, and both Olsen and Marshall are being warmed up by cuts. Assume Marshall is on the bench. Yeah, he is. He's on the bench as per Ashley Priest's team sheets. It looks like that was it was left off the Aston Villa graphic. Is what it seems to be. Just going to do a little quick check there on all things social media. Make sure we aren't missing any breaking news. There are some. Yeah, it looks like Kamara is going to wear 44 for the rest of the season. Well, Aston Villa have got a big picture up of his jersey, Kamara 44. Also, I wonder, is that the actual font that they're going to go with for the back of the shirts this season? Also, we never actually really got a proper look at the back of the shirt. You see there's more air holes on the back of the Pro shirt here as well. But I wonder, is that the font that Villa are going to go with for this season? Which doesn't make a blind bit of difference to me. But I don't know, somebody out there might be a bit interested in what type of font they use in the back of their jerseys. What else have we got here? Oh, I'm loving this. I hope I don't get taken down for copyright infringement here. But I'm going to say, in case anybody is looking at this from a copyright infringement point of view, we're commenting on this from a commentary point of view. We're not sharing any audio, but I'm loving the stitching on that pennant. Isn't it absolutely fantastic? I love the old school nature of it. As I said, looks like the font on the back of the shirts has been pretty much decided. Love to see Coutinho and Diego Carlos in the back of the shirts. It's absolutely great. It kind of still gives me goosebumps to see Coutinho's name linked with Aston Villa, and long may it continue as well. There he is. There's the gaffer. The gaffer's out. 4:55. I'm already losing my voice. It's going to make for an interesting day. This might call time on this one to go in there and get a nice cup of tea and sit down and watch the rest of this game before I have to make a journey in less than an hour's time. But how's the morning bread, Neil? The morning bread is absolutely fine. I've been in bed. I did catch an early night last night, so I'm feeling good today. Paul is asking how many hours until the hurling team sheet tantrum. Oh God, there'll be about 40 of them on the way up. I'm getting collected at 7:30 in the morning from Limerick, so there'll be about 40 tantrums between now and throwing for that at 3:30, I think it is today. So there'll be quite a lot of those. Yes, and KFWH says Diego Carlos 3. Yeah, it looks like that's going to be his number for the year. I could see why Kamara picked 44. If 4 wasn't there and you wanted 4, well, why not pick 44? You know, it still keeps you on brand. So maybe we will see that. Impossible to know what the score is going to be, guys. But do you want to fire? Anybody want to fire some scores into the comment section there? We'll finish up maybe within the next 2 or 3 minutes. If anybody is feeling confident enough to throw in a scoreline there, not that it matters. I'm going to go Aston Villa 3, Leeds 3, and play out like that famous game did last season under lights. But I'm going to go with that 3-3. And I don't really care as long as there's decent performances and we see some sort of philosophy develop specifically amongst the front four. Philip says 3-1. You definitely did stay up. You're delirious. KFWH. You're delirious with the lack of sleep. 12-0 to Leeds, he's saying. Presidente Frank says 2-1 to Aston Villa. Any more out there? 3-all, says Rod. 3-2, says Alfie's Rest. I think we'll be in for a surprise. I'll say Villa 1, Leeds 1. 2-1 to Villa. Sai has no idea. There's absolutely no way of telling this. Josh Feeney could come on and score 5 goals from centre half. It could be one of those games. Plus, I don't think either team is too worried about what the final score is. Although you never know. It could be one of these games where a big, massive scrap breaks out in the middle of it. Although Wesley's in the travelling party, so fighting is probably unlikely to happen in this game today. 5-1, says Andy Poulton. 3-1 to Villa, says Paul Kelly. Nicholas Charles Bamford. No relation, I presume, Nicholas. No relation to Patrick. Cameron Archer 100% in the goals today. Yeah, look, he just all he's good for is scoring goals, which is brilliant. There was a Gaelic footballer in Ireland, and that was labelled at him. All he's good for is scoring, and it was said as a negative. That's like makes no sense to me. All he's good for is scoring. Obvious positive. Kumar says 4-3 Villa. Robin Finnerty says, I was just about to point out that Kamara wore 4 at Marseille and his social media handle ends on 4. So like you say, with 4 available, he went for 44. 0-all, says Christian Townsend. I'm not getting up at 4:25 in the morning to watch a 0-all. So if you're listening, Stephen Gerrard, fucking sort it out. Score a couple of own goals if you have to. I'm not watching a 0-all. No way. I'll be very, very, very annoyed. I think Sai makes a great point here. I couldn't really care less what the result is as long as there's no injuries. Injuries are one way to derail optimism, specifically in preseason. No injuries, please. 90 minutes free of injuries. And if it means we get beaten 3-0, so be it. And there's a yawn just to let you know that this isn't pre-recorded as well. Nicholas is not related to Patrick Bamford. He doesn't have very much liking for Patrick Bamford. And Saint Ledger 84 says 4-2 Villa Bailey brace. Guys, I'm actually excited about watching this, and I know that a lot of you guys are too. It's 35 minutes to kick off. Villa did me some solid. I think they must have known. Like why would they release it at 4:25 unless they had definitely seen my social media post saying I was going to do a team sheet tantrum at 4:25. Like, what's the logic for doing it 10 minutes early unless they were doing it to suit me so that they went, oh, listen, this poor old creator, we'll give him the team at 4:25 so he doesn't have to try and fill some time in his podcast when he's only just up out of the scratcher. Thanks. I'm going to say thank you, Stephen Gerrard. Thank you to everybody in the marketing department and in the PR department, Tommy Jordan, all those out there. If you did do it for me, it means a lot. It means a lot, guys. It means a lot. Right, so lads, I'm going to let you at whatever you're going to do between the next 35 minutes until we kick off. It's been a pleasure. 100 people at 4:25 in the morning is pretty surreal, lads. Watching a fella in Ireland and his dog, who's been passed out asleep here beside me, do a podcast about a team from England playing in Australia against another team from England. It's just pretty mental what you can do on the internet. It's pretty surreal moment. And thanks so much, everybody. Please give this a thumbs up if you do like it. And here's to hopefully a great result. I might come back on for a post-match today. It might be Tuesday, depending on what way my travel plans go. But enjoy the game, everybody. 35 minutes to kick off. And here's hoping to a Villa win, injury-free. And we will see you again soon. And until we do, the next time, all that's left to say is up the Villa.